Train the muscles, not the joints. So today I already trained some arms. So tonight I'm going to train some chest, back, and some legs. And I'm also going to do a little bit of trap training, and I'm going to do some ballistic shrugs, which I haven't done for a super long time. But one of my subscribers, I think it was Inescapable Reality, he suggested that I do some ballistic shrugs. He was interested in just what I thought about them and whether I should do them in my training or whether I do them once in a while. See ya. Inescapable Reality was asking me, do I ever do these ballistic type shrugs, and would that really be good for building big traps and stuff? Now, I've talked about shrugs before. I talked about that I never really felt that they were necessary for me because I found that I never really felt the shrug that much. Although when I did deadlift, which was part of our discussion, I felt the shoulders come down and I did get sore traps from that. So whenever you have heavy weight just hanging down, yes, that will stimulate the traps. And I usually would just conserve my energy for heavier bent over rows, like 315 or 275 or 225 or whatever, and that's what I was doing. And I was getting my trap work mostly from that and external rotation type bent over lateral work for the rotator cuff and the rear delts. I was also getting a lot of traps there. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways to get traps, but I'm gonna do this just for fun tonight. I've got my wrist straps with me so I can actually put 3 plates or 4 plates on there. The other thing is though, you wanna watch out with, for instance, what I've got going on. A little bit of an unstable shoulder from the hockey injury, okay? So what happens, you wanna make sure you stay tight the whole time because otherwise your bicep and your rotator cuff is actually what's stabilizing the shoulder. So remember, when you're holding on to that 3 or 4 plates or whatever it is that you're holding on to, all those little rotator cuff muscles have to work harder than say somebody else that might have a real stable labrum and there's no tear in it, like so the humerus bone doesn't slip out, right? So that's why I also am a little bit careful with just swinging my arms around and with random heavy weights all over the place, right? Especially once you get into these heavier weights. But I'm gonna do it tonight anyway, just for fun and just see how it feels, just to change it up, right? Just for entertainment's sake. And for those of you guys that are going to be doing the dance-off, I already talked about this. I want you guys to be doing this dance-off. I'm sick and tired of you guys hiding behind your computer screens and your couches and not actually showing your brilliance to the world here. So if any of you are interested in doing the dance-off, okay, you just email me and tell me that you want to sign up. I'll send you the song, and then you send me or you email the video of you dancing to that song. And the more public, the better. I mean, I'm hoping that some pretty funny stuff will come from this, and then I'm gonna put together a music video of everybody dancing this song. I think it's gonna be great, so sign up, man. Just sign up. Anyway, let's go in the gym, let's get a workout in, and let's hope this time I get totally huge. Yeah, you know you can talk, I'm just warming up. I'm like a superhero, see this? Watch this, watch. No. Just kidding. I thought you were going to throw them in the air. No, just with you. One thing you have to know about me is that if I'm not f***ing around with you, then that means I'm tired and I shouldn't be in the gym.
Yeah, okay. Okay, what's it called?
Natural, like drug-free, right? Gallant, G-A-L-L-A-N-T.
Bodybuilding?
Bodybuilding, yeah, that's my name.
7,000 subs.
Yeah. Locked out, see? This is me locked out. That's it. So you'll see that although I'm going to be going for a heavy trap workout, I'm really going to concentrate on the weight there. The other portions of my workout, I'm going to go for feel. So right now I'm locking out at the top. I'm just trying to squeeze the chest there. So I am not locking my arms out totally, but locking out as much as I can safely while keeping the arms slightly bent because I want to get that squeeze in the chest. Now the other thing is my triceps are a little bit burnt out from earlier today. So that's another reason why I know I'm not going to be lifting max weight or PR weight today. I trained triceps earlier today, so triceps are giving out early, but that's okay, right? So changing up the order and stuff really helps you kind of hit the body in different ways. But yeah, it's not really the technique that I would recommend as an everyday thing, but that's what I'm doing today. Now, although I'm focusing on the squeeze for the dumbbell presses, most of you know that I usually don't do that. Usually I stay more often in the stretch state of the exercise and use a constant tension pumping type of rep. So I do change things up from time to time, but I do recommend staying more in the stretched part of the rep more often. I think you will get more results that way. And as you will see when I'm doing shrugs, the whole premise of how that one works is the stretch portion of the movement, because I'm not going to be getting a lot of squeeze when I'm using super heavy weight. I went from dumbbell presses to lat pull downs, as you can see. Now, the important thing to notice about the way I lat pull down is that I don't ever straighten my arms totally, okay? There's a reason why, because if you straighten your arms totally, you're actually putting the pressure on the elbows and on the rotator cuff, and there's no reason for that because you're trying to work your back, right? So when I keep the arms slightly bent and then rotate them in a little bit or outwards, it just depends on how wide my grip is, I can actually get a feel for which position is stretching the lat. So remember, keep that tension on the lat. Remember to stretch the lat. Don't stretch the elbows out. Here's the money shot. Here's the money shot. I'm gonna be doing some shrugs here. You're gonna see them. You're gonna see me do shrugs. You never see me do shrugs on this channel. I don't think I've ever done shrugs on this channel because I really don't do shrugs, but I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start doing them because I actually really enjoy doing them. And just so you know, for purposes of full disclosure here, my traps were killing me a couple days later because I honestly have rarely ever went to 4 plates for shrugs because I've barely ever done shrugs. So I noticed that it really did hit a different part of my trap. So I'm interested in experimenting further with this. So you will see me do this a little bit more often in the next little while, just for something fun, just to put some real weight on my spine. And it actually felt really good on the trap. So like I said, they were killing me for about 2 or 3 days after. So it really did work. So of course, here I am at 3 plates and it's pretty easy, but of course I'm not getting as good of a squeeze, but the whole purpose of this exercise is to get that stretch at the bottom. And as long as I'm keeping those elbows slightly bent and I'm staying really tight, I should be fine. All right, you asked for it, so this is what I'm doing. So I'm gonna go to 4 plates now, and it's not about doing strict reps. So we're just getting that trap to stretch, okay? So the stretching of the trap really helps actually build that muscle. So like I said, I've never felt the need to do this, but as an experiment, just for fun, I'll do it just for fun, right? Why not, right? Now this is super heavy for me, so that's really part of the experiment. It's just to really do ballistic reps, just to stretch that trap out and to get a different type of development. And there is something to be said, and I've talked about this before, of just putting weight on the skeletal structure. Just putting the weight on there will cause a certain adaptation throughout the entire body. So that's also why sometimes I've seen some guys with some wicked development in their upper back and their overall body just doing really heavy, short, small movements. So there's this almost hate on the internet about this sort of thing, but it is a very valid technique. that really felt good. Even though I'm not getting a squeeze at the top and everything, I'm getting a really awesome stretch, and it really did tear apart my traps like crazy. I was sore for days after. So just so you guys know, did the experiment. I waited for the days after just so I can give you this feedback right now, and it did feel pretty good. So yeah, there you go. That's my experiment. I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to continue doing this for a while and see what kind of traps I can develop from this, because I already developed some decent traps just from other movements. It'll be interesting to see what this does. So as you can see, I'm on to leg press right now. And of course, my movements are always short on the leg press, because this is what I find I hit my muscles in my leg and my quad the best. Once I start coming down more, because of my long femurs and tibia, I notice that my knees start to take a lot more of the stress. So I'm just warming up the knees right now, just getting the blood in the quads. I usually do 1 or 2 sets like this just to get that blood in there. And those of you wondering, yeah, my legs are still tight from the last workout. I did squats at 405 2 days ago, so my quads are a bit tight today. So I'm not going quite as heavy. I'm just kind of playing around here on the leg press, but it hurts like hell. So yeah, sometimes I train when I'm a little bit tight, but not too tight. Last set, a fly landed on my leg. I think that means my legs are dead. So today, because I did bis and tris earlier today, I decided to do the rest of my body pretty much, except for actual delts. I did traps instead of delts. Usually I kind of train those things in the same workout. But what I started with was some flat dumbbell presses, and I was trying to lock out at the top quite a bit just to show you guys my full range of motion at the top, okay? Because the way my arms are built and stuff, sometimes people think that I'm not locking out when I actually am, or at least I'm close to. You know, my arms are always slightly bent because I never lock out, but this is the full range of motion at the top, the full squeeze, okay? Just so you guys get a sense of this. But of course, because I trained bis and tris earlier in the day, I'm getting about 5 to 7 or 8 less reps on the bench press with the 105 dumbbells because of this, because my triceps are a little bit fatigued. But that's okay, because sometimes I'll mix things up and I don't worry about whether I'm at my strength peak or not. I just worry about how I feel in the gym. That's more important, how you feel. And I could feel that I was getting a really good pump, good mind-muscle connection, so that felt really good, so I like that. Then I went to some lat pull downs because I did some rows yesterday, so I want to do some lat pull downs. Like I've talked to you about, I sometimes will alternate rows and pull down type movements, so I go from thickness to lats, thickness, lats. So I decided to do some lat pull downs, and then of course, because I was talking to one of the subscribers, and he was suggesting, hey Jason, do some heavy rack pulls or some heavy trap type stuff just to show us you know, what it feels like to you and what you think about it. So I went over to do shrugs in the squat rack, which I never do. So a lot of you guys ask me, how did you build traps? How did you build traps? This isn't actually how I built them. How I built them was bent over lateral raises, right, with the external rotation, as well as bent over rows or heavy bent over rows with proper form, actually working my back. So if you guys want to know how to do that, watch the video, The Secrets to Training Back. It's a really good video, and it'll teach you how to train your back and hit your traps at the same time. So anyway, today, just for a change up, just for something fun, I decided to do shrugs, and I went up to 4 plates for 3 sets. Now the whole point of these shrugs isn't about getting a real squeeze at the top. What I'm trying to do is really get that stretch and that tearing of the actual trap fibers from the heavyweight hanging on there, okay? That's really what helps build muscle. This is why you see me with most of my movements stay in the stretch state longer than the contracted state. A lot of people are saying, Jason, you need to do those squeezing movements to gain muscle. And I'm saying, yeah, that might be valid, it might help, but what I found is that the stretching movements or the stretch part of the rep is the most important part of the rep. Now you're saying, Jason, you don't do full range all the time. What do you mean stretch? Well, the stretch of the particular muscle group you want to train. That's what's most important. That's the principle that I was engaging in when I was doing barbell shrugs, the heavy barbell shrugs. And of course, just from hanging that heavy weight on the system, that will cause a certain anabolic response in the body. Now from there, I went over to do some leg presses. 2 days before, I did some really heavy squats. I did heavy squats at 405. And so my legs are a little bit tight today, so I decided to stay just at 7 plates aside on the leg press and just do do the range of motion that feels right to me to keep that stress on the muscle belly, not on the hip joint, not on the knee. Okay, so each person, this range will be different, but this is the range that works for me, and that's what I decided to do. So I did 3 sets of that. So thanks a lot for watching, and if you want to support this channel, make sure you go to Patreon. I have a Patreon page now, so check that out if you want to, and there'll be some secret sort of video stuff there and everything. If you want to get a hold of me, just go to naturallandbodybuilding.com, and take care for now.